Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We live? Are we live, nigga? I
That
know.
day,
I need
because
to
you
get the
looking real
bag
crazy.
ready. He said, "Hold on." I don't know. I look really crazy with this thing up to my ear. I just want you to know. We live? We're live. All right.
No, you lie.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Hello. And
Hello.
welcome to Girls Gabbin.
Yes. Welcome to Girls Gabbin.
Yes, today is October the 6th. I got it right.
You got it right. I was
Okay,
just laughing.
I
We
usually
always
mess
get
up
the
the
day
date.
wrong.
Yeah, I'll be in next week, last week somewhere. But actually, this is the first show celebrating in October. So I wanted to. Well, before we get started, let me tell you who I am first, because
Yes.
they was like, okay, and who are you? I am Lisa Dove Washington,
And I am Andrea Riley.
and we're
We are
Girls Gabbin. And did you have anything to share? I had a couple things I
Well,
wanted
go
to share,
ahead,
but go
start.
ahead. Okay.
And then we
Well, I
will go
just
right
wanted
into it.
to, because Andrea and I have talked about it, and October is kind of like Breast Cancer Awareness Month, mental health awareness, domestic violence awareness. There's a lot of things that, we can talk about in October. So we wanted to hit on it each Sunday in the month of October, this being the first one. So we have our pink ribbons,
Yes.
and we'll try to just maybe change up, purple for one, we'll do. We try to be a little crafty.
We try to be.
But I just wanted to mention a few stats that I pulled out, and then just some things that have been going on over the weekend, because it's been a busy weekend.
Yes, it has.
But in 2019, is estimated 268,600 new cases of invasive breast cancer are expected to be diagnosed in the U.S. 62,930 would be non-invasive. And of that, 2,670 are men. Um, and I think that's the only number I pulled up, because I wanted to mention that men also can have breast
Right.
cancer. So the men should be tuning in too. So take a minute and pull them in. Okay, I know the game is on, but anyway.
This is important.
Right.
Right.
And with mental health awareness, I looked up that one person dies every 40 seconds from suicide. And with domestic violence, it's nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the U.S. 1 out of 4 women, 1 out of 9 men. So, yeah, it's serious, and we need to just do better.
Absolutely.
So the more we talk about it, the more, because now it's our teenagers, now it's our middle
That's
schoolers,
everybody.
it's bad. So we need to start talking about it and doing things. I did look up some things that we can do, and one of them was sharing, like we're doing on the radio, or encouraging people to go get their mammograms. So that's one thing we want to let everybody know to do. I need to schedule mine. I usually do it on my birthday. But I don't know if I missed or whatever. But
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to make sure you got that done.
oh, I don't play with that,
Alright.
But I told you I've already had a scare years ago. So I
Right.
started at 35 doing it. So, and got a scare. So after that, they actually had me come in a little more often, just
Okay.
because, you know. So yeah, no.
Absolutely.
And there are other
It's
things
important.
besides breast cancer, that people have to deal with. So
Right.
yeah, just get checked out.
Right. So as Lisa stated, and we're starting off the month of October recognizing survivors of overall health awareness. We want to recognize this month Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I do want to shed some light on all the organizations and groups worldwide making an impact with donations to which proceeds are used to educate women on the signs and symptoms of breast cancer and empowering them to speak up on changes that they notice. So it's important. Also, most of you know I love to make statements and words that I can wear. So to empower women or people in general. So today, as a part of one of the companies donating $200,000 of their proceeds, I'm doing my part in wearing Vans Breast Cancer Awareness Collection. The shoes I am wearing represents all women of color, and actually they're on my shoes, and I'll show them later. Well, they're on my page already. And a sweatshirt symbolizes the stages of breast cancer survivors. So I wanted to do my part, but we'll continue to do that.
Right.
I do want to share in our research of focusing on health awareness, the month of September recognized both prostate and ovarian cancer. So although we did not get an opportunity to discuss those topics last month, I want to emphasize that the focus this month is overall health awareness. So I want to start off with this. Cancer is a word, not a sentence, and we have two options, medically and emotionally. Give up or fight like hell.
Right.
Okay. Suicide prevention is one of the main focuses of mental health awareness this month, so we'll be touching bases with that. And I too want to say it is important to me because I lost an aunt and a grandmother to cancer, so it's real. So we got to start doing our part. So yes.
So I wanted to mention, I know I've said this before, and I don't think I got any takers, but because I have walked before.
And
people stay real quiet when I say I have done the 39-mile walk 3 times. But as soon as I say I lost all my toenails, I lose everybody. You know, they're like, oh, wait a minute, we're not doing that.
About the toenails.
But because you're walking from DC to Silver Spring,
right? But
literally.
I still want to do it though.
So it's like 26 miles the first day, and then 11 coming back because it's kind of sightseeing the first day. And you do pitch your own tent. Okay, that was a deterrent as well. So,
Sharetta, what you say? You lost me.
That whole pitch a tent, sleep outside.
Well, you do have an option now. They'll take you back to the hotel and then bring you back out. Okay. You know. But listen, when you finally arrive, they do have, like, you can get your feet done, and they have food and dance, and you enjoy yourself and network, and it was a really nice experience. I did it 3 times. I had too many takers. It's usually in May, around the first week of I think first week of May. It's usually in May. So get ready now and hype yourself up a little bit.
Okay, but I'm curious, how did you lose your toenails? Is that real, or you?
It's very real.
Like they all fell off?
Yeah.
Like your regular toenails?
Yeah.
From walking?
Yes.
Ain't nobody walking.
That is usually the moment when I lose
So that's okay. I'm not gonna walk.
Is that a side effect?
Well, you know, no, then because that's what my husband. He said you can't just
donation
write a check or something, you know. But no, it was.
I thought she was just saying
like
I walk so
literally.
hard,
But it doesn't.
They fell off.
Well, because you're literally walking, and you know they tell you don't buy new shoes. You take shoes that are a little bit warm but not too warm. But still, it's a lot on your feet. So your feet swell and things happen. So. Well, they don't, they eventually, like maybe over a month's time. So I think the day I finished, I couldn't put shoes on for a minute. But, it was a wonderful experience. And I will say this, and I don't know if my friend is on the very first time I did it, and I don't know if my friend is on, but she asked me to do it. She was doing it. So I said, I'll join you. And we did it the first day. And by the second day, on the way back, and it rained. So we had to wear our little hoodies and things, which made it even more interesting. And she gave up, like, after halfway through the second day. She was like, I called my husband and told him to pick. I was like, what? No, we supposed to be doing this together. So I finished with another stranger who, became a friend, because I was like, I'm not giving up. And my husband was on the other end saying, oh, no, she started. She won't do it. I'm kind of stubborn like that. I was like, I'm out here now. I can't, so.
Wow.
So I'm looking for okay. So when all right.
God bless you.
I'm still coming. I'm not giving up.
We're gonna be on the sidelines cheering them on.
And if others are interested in joining, you have till next May to get your nerves together and learn how to pitch a tent. And I don't think it's gonna make a difference though. I don't know. Well, the third time wasn't as bad, but the first time was But they have first aid stops and
you just
along the way, strangers give you candy along the way to keep your sugar up and cheer you on and
I might be one of those strangers.
You're volunteers.
So when you pass this stop,
you find your purpose in it.
It was wonderful. I'm gonna pull some. Y'all gonna be believers.
I believe you. I'm just gonna believe you from over here.
I'm believing you gonna walk. You gonna walk. Now you can stop anytime too. Now they don't make you do it. So if you decide after a few miles, I don't want to do this anymore, they'll pick you up and
Check
take you
your
to the
toes.
camp.
Every 5 miles, check your feet.
Right.
Man,
Well, look, your feet will let you know. So,
sure will.
so just to keep you all abreast of when that comes about. So, yeah.
Well, we'll definitely post that information. So just y'all
Yeah, because we're gonna get a team.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
Wait a
gonna have a
minute.
team.
I'm-
Yeah, so,
okay.
we
We gonna
yeah,
encourage
yeah. I
the
see you
team.
dipping already, but that's all right.
I'm coming. I'm
Anywho.
It's going to be a girls' gathering team.
That's right. That's right. And just this weekend, did you have anything going on this weekend? I know it was kind of busy for me, so
No, it was busy for me.
I'm just getting
Right.
back in town from New York.
Right. So tell us
So-
about your billboard.
So I had a billboard reveal yesterday in New York in Times Square. It's actually my third billboard.
It is.
For Get Out of Your Own Way Volume 3. I was actually in 2, and the publisher at the time was Sharon Moyer. And I actually, this is the new book. I'll show, I don't know if y'all can see it, but this is the new book. Am I looking at this wrong? Okay.
You know what,
that
I
was
was looking at
different. This is the new book. Okay, I told y'all I just got back on the road. So
All right.
But this is volume 3, and this was 2. There was a billboard for this one as well, so it's actually 3 volumes altogether. So that was a big deal. And Sharon actually was my publisher for The Power Shut Up, which everybody knows is my very first book. And from that, I have I started with my own publishing company. So on October 26th, we're going back down, and the co-authors of my very first co-author book, I have 6 co-authors in that book, or 5 including me. We're going to reveal our book and release it, and it'll be under Touched by a Dove Publishing, which is my publishing company. So yes, I am excited about that, and yeah. So that's where I was yesterday. We drove up and came back down, so I'm kind of tired.
Yes, you are.
Um,
But it's well worth it.
It was, and then I told Andrea I have a giveaway today, but we'll all decide how we gonna give this away.
Okay.
But Byron Cage is used to be a music minister of music at Ebenezer, where I go to church, and he was there today, and he has a CD out called Isolation. And it's brand new, and he has a book that's coming out, so it's in pre-sales now. But what I decided to do was get a copy, and we're gonna give it away today. But this CD is geared towards kind of helping people through depression and things like that. And since that's what we're aware of in October, I thought this would be the perfect
That's
giveaway.
excellent.
So we have this here, and I'll let y'all decide how we're gonna give it away. 'Cause
Yeah. Okay.
I can't think about that. I don't know. Or the first person that said they're gonna walk and actually do. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Right.
For
kidding.
those that are listening, we'll definitely tune in and let them decide
Yes.
at the end. So that's awesome. And I will say this show has really made me a reader. Every author.
oh,
We're gonna get into yours too.
Yes.
I have a book, so I'm reading now.
Yes. She said now.
I'm reading now. So we're going to get into our special guest that we have in the studio today. These 2 beautiful women of God. And I'm going to start off with co-pastor Michelle D. Limes. Co-pastor Michelle D. Limes is a native Washingtonian. She is the wife of Pastor R. Sean Limes of the City of David Ministries of Forestville, Maryland, and a mother of 3 wonderful children, Marcus, Aaron, and Ashley, and 1 granddaughter, Maya.
Yes.
Co-pastor Limes is the CEO of Gabbin Enrichment Childcare and Imagine Summer Program for the Arts. She is the founder of I Am Confidence Empowerment and the Journey of Womanhood. She also facilitates intimate sessions for women to push them to be confident in whom God has created them to be. Co-pastor Michelle D. Limes has a mandate by God to preach and teach the gospel and is anointed to bring deliverance through the word of God in clarity and simplicity. God uses her to heal and break cycles of bondage. She is a cutting-edge, radical woman of God that believes that the power of God can break any stronghold over your life, even if you through him, you do not have to stay in the same place that you are in. As she stands on Psalm 91:1, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the highest shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. She knows she must lean and depend on God for everything. He is the source of her strength and faith is not faith until it's tested. God has released unto her her assignment, and now it's time to rediscover, redeem, and ignite her dreams, goals, and God's given purpose. Her quote, "There is power in knowing who you are." Please welcome co-pastor Michelle Lyons.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having
Yes, no, thank you for coming. So you need to share with us, okay, you're getting into just being full-fledged, sharing your journey to be a child of God. Explain how that all got started, because I did leave some things out for you to share with us individually.
Yeah. I think I got saved. I was baptized when I was 12, but I really got saved in 1997 when my grandmother passed. And I was in the go-go band.
Right.
And I was doing a lot of travel between D.C., Philadelphia, and New York. We went on tour with Salt and Pepper, and I was doing my thing.
Right.
And when my grandmother passed, it was a awakening for me, and it made me go back to where I was brought up in. And when I got saved, I had a passion for youth because that's where I was coming from, and I would minister at the church I was going in at the time. I had started a youth program for empowering youth, and that's how. Actually, the first ministry I was in when I first got saved was the choir, because I've been singing forever. But my passion was the young people, because that's where I came from, and I felt like I relate to them because I know the struggles that I had even before I got saved. I've grown a lot, and the Lord has really tremendously been good to me. I don't take no regret for my journey because it makes me relatable to young women and younger guys that's out there doing their thing, because I was one of them that was out there doing their thing. So I'm grateful for that opportunity that the Lord gave me to be out there to do that. And after that, I've been ordained and licensed since, I want to say, maybe 2004. I've been preaching for about 20 years, pastoring for 8 years. Okay. So we're pretty new in pastoring. Wow, you couldn't told me I was pastoring nobody's church. That wasn't on the plan. That wasn't the plan. I could have just been evangelist, been good. But my husband's, he's called the pastor, so of course I followed him, and we co-labored together at the City of David. I've been through a whole lot, but I'm recognizing that even in my journey with God, that everything is purposeful. Everything that we go through has a purpose, and even in suffering is a benefit. And after a couple of years after pastoring, once we started pastoring, want me to tell my whole testimony?
Yes,
I do. We already talked about this.
Okay, I got it. After a year of pastoring, I was diagnosed of kidney cancer. One thing about kidney cancer, you do not have any symptoms. Let me say that again. You have no symptoms for kidney cancer. The only reason I went to the doctor wasn't because it was because I had my stomach kept cramping, and I didn't understand, and it just kept cramping. I went to the doctor, and they kept, and you have to, and I say this, I'm gonna put a pin here, because when you go to the doctor and something's is going on with you, and they try to brush you off and give you some medicine to say you're okay, you have to fight for that. Because if you just be passive and just say okay and let it go on, you have to fight for your health.
That's right.
And I kept going back, and they kept telling me no, there's nothing wrong. So finally I went to Bowie Health Center, and finally the guy said, "Well, Miss Limes, do you want a CAT scan?" Because they knew I wasn't going nowhere. And I said, yes, I want a CAT scan. So they gave me a CAT scan. My husband and I were waiting in the emergency part, waiting for them. Of course, they take a long time. So he comes to me and he says, "I have a question for you. What's your favorite hospital?" And I said, of course I had got it, I'm like, who has a favorite hospital? What kind of question is that? So he said, well, because you have cancer and you need to go to the hospital. You have kidney cancer. We found a mass on your kidney. And that's how it was
That's
told.
how it was told.
So
that was
Right.
we went, I had to process that. And we went and I ended up going to, another hospital, and I ended up getting surgery, and, God has healed. But that was a very scary time for me.
Absolutely.
But then, after that, 2 years from there, I had got severely burned by a pressure cooker. And it burned my whole torso, everything, second and third degree burns.
Wow.
I was cooking, and my pressure cooker exploded.
Wow.
And when my husband came home, I think I was shocked because I called him. I was like, it's kind of funny now, but when I called him, I was like, can you go to CVS and get me some ointment for burns because my chest looked like it has hair on it. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I told him about what happened. He said, I'm right down the street. I'm coming home. And when he came home, he said all he saw was flesh. You couldn't even see my skin. So we went to Southern Maryland Hospital. They took me to Washington Hospital Center, which I learned had the only burn unit in our area. And that right there had, that was really, for me, it was more traumatizing than the cancer, because it just, both of them was, but I just didn't know what to do with that, and they ended up giving me a surgery staff,
Skin graft.
to take it off your skin off one area and put it on the next. And after that, I had slipped into a really deep depression, because I did not, I wasn't happy. I felt like I looked like a science project, and then I just wasn't, I was going through my own personal mindsets, I was going through a lot, and it was, I'm talking, depression is very, you have to make your mind up to shake that thing off. You really do. And I'm talking preaching, pastoring. I look good on Sunday morning, and I preach, but I still was going through my own battle.
Right.
And finally, I had to get tired.
Right.
And I say all that to say, especially in light of mental illness, in light of breast cancer and any other kind of cancer, whenever you want freedom of anything, you have to fight for it. And I had to make my mind up, and it only takes a decision, because sometimes we can want to stay in that place because it's familiar, and because it doesn't feel good, but because it's familiar, and because that's the place we're staying in. But I'm grateful to God that He healed me, and that's how I came to I Am Confident. Because I had to learn. Well, first of all, when I was in depression, all my insecurities were on the table. But this is the catch: those insecurities really had nothing to do with the burns.
okay.
Those
The burns
insecurities
triggered
were there before
Right.
the burns.
Okay.
I just didn't acknowledge that. Okay, so when the Lord dealt with me, and I had to fight for my happiness, because happiness is a choice as well.
That's
Right.
I had to fight for my happiness, fight for my joy, and fight for my life back. It was nothing my husband could do, my kids could do, nothing. This was me and God. This was a me and God thing. So when I had fought for that, and the Lord restored, then I recognized, okay, I have to get my confidence back. And confidence isn't about the way you look. Confidence is about being rooted in who you are and who God created you to be.
Yes.
And confidence does not breed comparison.
Right.
Because a lot of times, us as women, we compare ourselves with
Yes.
one another, which keep us in the seat of insecurity.
That's right.
So a lot of times we have to know, and God created me this way. I'm thick, I'm looking to lose some weight, but
You're gorgeous.
but I'm confident in who I am.
Right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
it.
Right.
And me even losing weight isn't for nobody else but
Right.
me to
Yeah.
be
Right.
healthy.
That's
To
right.
be healthy. It's not even as much as I love my husband. It's not for him either.
Right.
That's right.
But it's for me to be healthy, and this is something I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Lord gave me, I am confidence. I said, I am confident. And no, I'm confident. You are the word.
I like that.
You know, and I'm like, okay, I am the word.
Mhm.
And I started declaring those things over my life. And what we don't understand is sometimes, many times, declarations brings good things because you have to tell
Yes.
yourself something. If you know somebody that lie all the time and they continue to lie, they believe the lie because they
really
said it
do.
so much.
Yeah.
But if we declare things over our life and speak well of ourselves, and it's not being conceited, it's just being confident.
That's right.
You speak well over yourself. You said enough, you're gonna believe it too.
That's right.
And anything your mind believes, everything else gonna
Oh,
fall
yeah,
into
that's
place.
right.
So I was grateful. I can stand here and sit here and really say I'm grateful for every situation the Lord allowed me to be in because He put me in it for a reason.
Right.
He knew I was equipped when I didn't feel like I was. And honestly, I don't even know how I'm sitting here because I should have lost my mind. But God kept me in the midst of that. So I'm grateful for that. And then when the book came, Lord Fixed My Life, and I told my daughter to put 3 in, so I owe you one.
Thank you.
Yes, I know.
It's like, where's my book?
Listen, I was looking at my
She held it as long as she could.
It's like, where's my book?
Listen, I was looking at my pocketbook. I said, oh my
She's sitting there going,
Where's my
one,
book?
two.
Yes,
Mhm.
so
I
Pastor,
see
I
two.
definitely owe you one. When God gave me this book, Lord Fixed My Life, and He showed me this closet is a whole bunch of foolishness,
Mhm.
stuff that don't even belong in the closet, and that's how our life is. We have stuff, people that we need to get rid of.
Come on now.
Yes.
Say it again.
We need to, let it go. How long you gonna mourn for something dead? That's something different. So, it's things. If you look at the closet, it's a lot of things. It's more of a metaphor of a lot of
Right.
things that's in the closet that don't belong in the closet. And if we do self-reflection, because during that time for me was a time of self-reflecting, and we look to see what we have going on in our life. What do we have in our life that's causing us stagnation, causing us delay, hindrances, distraction, turmoil, sadness, stuff like that. And we start to purge the closet.
Yep.
So in the book, it talks about how to purge your closet. And a lot of ways to purge. The first way to purge your closet is forgiveness. Well, the first way is acknowledgement. And we have to acknowledge that there's something wrong, there's something there. Then I have to confess it. And then we start the process of forgiveness and everything else. And then once you do it, your closet is nice and neat and pretty.
Oh, I didn't see the. Oh, wait a minute. Oh,
Yeah, so
yes.
it's
this
nice
is a little
and
OCD
neat.
going on here,
It
too.
is,
You
it's
really-
a lot of OCD. So, when the
This
Lord
is me, right?
Yeah, nice and pretty.
Oh, you're
So-
not confessing. You're right.
So,
That's a big difference.
so that's it's a big difference.
big
But
difference.
that's what He gave me. So I'm grateful for that. But then with the journey of womanhood came about was because I'm learning, and I just turned 50, and this woman here, she talking about
Congratulations.
she over 50. I can't believe it. 'Cause she
Welcome.
She looks so.
I know that's right. Welcome to the. It's
She looks so
fabulous
good.
over on this
She
side.
She looks so good.
It's absolutely
And-
fabulous on this.
Womanhood is a journey.
It is.
We have, we journey. This is a journey, having children, then raising them, then getting married. That's another chapter. Then,
Getting them out the house.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
grandchildren. I mean, the whole thing is a journey.
It's a
It
journey.
is.
And we as women, we carry a lot of hats.
We do.
And we multitask, and we able to do all those things. But in the midst of it, a lot of times we put everybody else first.
Right.
Yes.
And put ourselves last, and at the end of the day, we're exhausted. Everybody else is satisfied. And what God is still teaching me, because He got to reel me in sometime, is you need some me moments for you, and I call them me moments, even if it's just you getting some lipstick, getting but I'm going to go shopping. I'm gonna talk to Pastor. I'm going shopping. That's a great me moment.
It sure is.
Absolutely.
You get do some things that you like to do.
Right.
And everybody else got to fend for themselves. And it don't mean I don't love you, but I need this time to keep my sanity.
That's
Yep.
it.
And that's what the Lord is showing me with Journey of Womanhood. So I'm planning on having it's gonna be funny. I'm gonna show them how to cook, because I meet a lot of young women that they don't know how to boil eggs. I don't understand. I grew up learning.
I know
that.
how to, but I mean, if I don't have to,
You prefer not to?
I don't like the kitchen. I mean, I'm being honest. I don't like the kitchen, but I do know how.
Yeah, but
I just don't want to.
I get it.
Well, I mean, the kids
That's
out the
how
house
we
now,
like
so too,
Oh,
and
so
I'm
you
over
have-
50, so yeah, I think they should cook for
Yeah,
themselves.
all my
And
kids was out the house. We're out the house at one time.
oh, what you say? Oh, okay. You just brought me to another
Moving on.
moment, right? She just stole my little joy.
Okay.
So it's short lived. Okay, okay.
I only cook if I have
Oh,
to.
well.
My husband does most of the cooking.
My husband
I
used
love
to.
mine.
My husband
Yeah.
could cook. Is he watching? My husband. My husband can cook.
Oh,
No, that's
he can
right.
My
cook.
husband can cook, but I think I done spoiled him. So
That's what it
now
is. See, you messed up.
I did mess up.
My husband was in the kitchen the other day cooking, and I just looked at him. I said, "You look so sad."
Oh,
You better give it to him. That's right.
I was
Sitting
sitting
right there.
she was gaming right there.
But see,
And he was like,
but
oh,
that might be-
yeah.
that's a journey in itself.
Right, right.
All
right.
of us are different.
Right.
And all of us like different things.
Right.
And just
I love
being
it.
excited about who we are. And
Yeah.
that's where the Lord had birthed the journey of womanhood, because it is a journey.
It
Yeah.
is.
It's a journey.
really
is. It
It's
definitely
a journey.
is.
We go through peaks and valleys.
Oh, yeah.
And we
It is.
find ourselves in mindsets, and then we have to talk to ourselves down, and I mean just a whole bunch. And when he showed me the journey of woman, I said, the journey. I said, wow, this is a journey.
Yeah.
And you know, just learning who you are is a journey, and accepting that.
That's important.
Absolutely.
Accepting
That is absolutely important.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you for sharing.
Wow.
I
Oh
told you
my
I could
goodness,
Wow.
that's
I love
That's your design.
I know.
Got two pastors in the room.
Listen,
Two preachers.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
That was so good.
But you spoke
I
about
love
your
it.
book, but you have an upcoming event as well.
yes, I do. October the 18th, I'll be doing the Well Experience.
Okay.
And the Well Experience is designed for, it's not a woman's event, it's anyone that's led to come. It's for if you're thirsty, if you need to be restored, if you need to be renewed. It's a place of worship, intercession, deliverance, and prophecy. And the Lord is going to move. I've done this twice already, and well, once already. This is my second time doing it, and I only do it when God is leads me to do it. I don't make it a monthly thing or every month thing, because I don't want to do it religiously.
Right.
I want to do it when He leads me to do it. I don't, just be doing it religiously. But He led me to do it for this time, so it'll be wonderful. I have a great praise and worship leader coming, and I'm gonna preach, and God is gonna move. He's gonna be in the place because He's the author of this thing.
That's right. Where is it taking place?
Yeah, it's at the City of David, 7842 Parsons Drive.
Okay.
In Forestville, Maryland. Is right behind the Foreman Mills and Roses. That's
Okay.
off of Marlboro Pike. Not Marlboro Pike. Forestville.
Forestville Drive.
Forestville Road.
Drive?
Road.
Road?
What is it? What is Forestville Road.
It's
I got
road,
it.
okay.
Yeah,
So what is it? I don't
It's right off of Forestville
She said I should
Road.
know.
Right.
And we're
It'll come
right,
back.
Yeah,
It's the
You got it,
it's
you
the
got it.
50
That's the
thing.
50
It's the
thing.
50
The
thing.
journey.
Listen, that's my journey.
We're entitled.
Yes,
That's what I
alright.
tell them. I can do that though.
That's
I'm
why
over
good
50
for
right
forgetting.
now.
So we right on the corner of Parson and Crichton Way.
Okay.
Yeah, so it starts promptly at 7:30, and I'm excited to see what God's gonna do. It's all about Him.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's all about Him.
I had a personal question.
Absolutely.
Since you said you, and welcome to the 50 side,
Yes,
because it's fabulous over
Okay,
here.
y'all know what?
It
I will
is.
be
It's-
50 next year. Okay.
Well, then we can't
I'm
welcome
coming.
you yet. Okay, so, but I wanted to ask you personally, did you feel, because I felt something at 40, but when I hit 50, it was just something that was like brand new. It was a whole different attitude. I kind of released a whole bunch of people, things, whatever, and not necessarily physically, but in my mind, it was like, whether it was family, whatever it was, I actually went into a mindset of, okay, am I supposed to be having to deal with, is that what was meant for me? And as soon as I released it, it was like, it was like blessings were flowing. And I'm
Yes.
like, oh, I was supposed to do this a long time
Long
ago. Then I was
time.
kind of frustrated because I said, I wasted a whole lot of time. What you know? But what did you?
It was a release for me.
Okay.
I was very excited about turning 50, but then something clicked, and the click was you don't have to deal with a lot of stuff that you're dealing with. And I shut it down.
And didn't feel guilty was the
I
difference.
have no issues.
Yeah. Because I was struggling with, am I not supposed to? Well, I'm trying to do the right thing, but when it hit, it was like, I don't feel bad about this. I think I've done all I can do.
And I've also learned the beauty of no.
Yes.
Just,
Foolishness
no.
falls
Yes,
at 50.
come on. No.
And you hit on
I
so
like
many
that.
things when you were talking about what's in this book. I was just kind of smiling because with the book,
Shut
Get Out Your Own Way. Well, I talked in one of my chapters in one of the volumes is about learning to accept. You have to acknowledge, then you have to accept, and then you have to, I forgot what the 3 steps were. But then and I can't tell, but you mentioned something about my new book is Unleash Your Superpowers, and it's discovering and accepting the powers within. And you mentioned, I can't tell, but you mentioned we all have, all of the co-authors have superpowers.
Yeah.
And you kind of touched on one that we will reveal when the book is out, but I was just like, okay, I'm seeing some connections and some synergy going on.
I'm
So.
believing God for another book. I want to do a children's book.
Oh, wonderful.
Because I work with children every day. When I had got diagnosed with cancer, I was working in the government, and I was a FOIA analyst.
Okay.
With,
That's a lot.
yeah, it was good money.
Yeah.
Homeland
Yeah, the money. Before when you said 4 years, I was like, ooh,
Homeland
that can be a lot.
Security. I was working on Homeland Security. Well, when I became sick, I was more of a liability than an asset.
Okay.
So there's no loyalties and contractors. So they got rid of me, and I was without a job. And I didn't work for about a year and a half. And I said, okay, well, I helped out some of the people at my church with their summer camp just to have something to do. Well, I didn't know God was setting me up. I had no idea. Then all of a sudden, people started calling me after that summer. Do you still work with kids? Because I have some mats. Do you still work with kids? I have some books. So finally, I had like almost a whole room full of stuff. And I'm looking at my husband like, what am I doing with all this stuff? And he said, I don't know, baby. And I said, okay, I'm around it. And when the Lord said, a child care, I laughed like Sarah did. I said, you got to be kidding me. My kids are grown. What are you are? I just knew he was playing. And I'll tell you, I went on and did it. I did my schooling and everything I needed to do to get properly licensed and stuff. And I've been doing it for 7 years.
God bless you.
And I never have a slot available.
Wow.
That is
And
wonderful.
I
Yes.
have a long waiting list.
Wow.
And my babies, I teach them, and that's like ministry for me.
Mhm.
I teach
That's your
them. I
ministry.
make them wear uniforms. When they leave out of my program, they know how to write their name. They know their name. They have letter recognition, number recognition, things like that. They're ready for kindergarten. I'm getting ready to adopt a digital literacy program.
What age are we talking about?
6 weeks. I started 6
Have
weeks
mercy.
to
Wow.
4.
That is a blessing.
And where's the daycare
It's in
located?
my home.
Oh.
I wanted it. I didn't originally want it. I wanted it at the church, but our church is the zoning.
Right.
Okay.
The zoning wasn't, so I just went
That
and
is
did there.
wonderful.
I'm really praying about doing a storefront, but
Mhm.
I just want to slow walk it and see
Right.
before I don't
Right.
want to just jump into that.
Count
Right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, because it's already. Well, I could talk. It was already 2, so I don't need 3. So yeah, but it's. I want to do a That's the book that I would like to call I Am Confidence. And
Okay.
it's for girls.
I like that.
And for little girls learning the difference of their hair
Mhm.
and the difference of their complexion, and that all of us are beautiful.
Mhm.
Those things because
That's
you have
awesome.
so many different shades of us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in school they look at it differently.
Right.
I have a granddaughter. My granddaughter is mixed, so I'm teaching her that. She'll be 2 in December, but I'm just making a point.
Right.
Yeah, that everyone's different.
Right.
So, and I want to I haven't even started the book, but my goal is for the book to be able, for the child to be able to understand confident. I'm confident because this is how God created me.
That's it.
You know, so
That's
that's
it.
what I would like to do. Yeah.
For getting rid of that line of that unseen line of competition
Yes.
that's always seems to
And
yeah
it's
you
so
always in the ring and you like
unnecessary.
how did I get
It's
in the
so
ring?
unnecessary.
I wasn't trying to be competing,
Right.
but it's always like you seem to appear in a competition that you didn't ask for or whatever because
And we all
we
are
need we
different.
seem to need that.
And you know, honestly, what I've noticed, the ones that when you deal with competition, if you look deeper into one another, there's something in you and there's something in me that can help. We can help each
Absolutely.
other. But the enemy raises his head to bring that division,
Right.
so that thing will
Always.
never happen. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah, so.
Well, this is awesome. Can you tell people how to reach you?
Oh, sure.
And your services, when your services are
Oh,
open.
okay. So we have church on every Sunday, of course, at 10 a.m. You can reach me on Instagram at MD Limes, M as in Michelle, D as in Denise, Limes, Lim as in Mary ES, or Facebook at co-pastor Michelle Limes,
Okay.
and that's it.
You don't have a website?
Oh, tcodm.org, the city of
Okay.
David.
Okay. You got to spell it out, huh?
The City of David Ministries.
And I'm sure we'll put the
Yeah, we
information
will.
in our,
But
on our
it's the
page so
acronyms
people
of
can.
the City of David
Okay.
Ministries.org, and they have the telephone numbers and everything. But the number is 301-200 City, and you can reach me there.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you, co-pastor Michelle.
you.
Yes,
That's
thank
all.
you for joining us.
As you're staying here joining us, and this is just a conversation, if you will.
Yeah.
Just jump right on in. as
Well,
we
she
go
can't
in.
get out.
She
We
can't
done
get
locked-
out.
We
done
done
locked
locked
the
you
door.
in.
That's
Yeah, we
right.
done.
Gotta hear from my sister.
We locked
Absolutely.
doors. No, I'm just
And we're gonna go right over to your sister, Pastor Sharetta Galladay.
No. That's it. I don't even know if I can get through it all now.
Pastor Sharetta Galladay serves as the founder and senior pastor of Foundation of Faith Church. She is a mentor, collaborating author, and the founder of the Recapture Your Sparkle movement. She is an entrepreneur and owner of an inspirational cosmetic line, Sparkle Girl, the Lip Shine collection by Sharetta, aka Sparkle Girl Cosmetic Line, and the founder of Sparkle Girl Empowerment Getaway. She is affectionately known as the Sparkle Queen, teaching women around the world to arise and shine, radiating from the inside out, and encouraging others to do the same. She has been preaching and teaching for over 27 years, assisting in bringing people to a place where they understand God's original design and empowering them to press past their past and present to experience victory daily. She has a passion for women and a heart of God, full of vision, love, wisdom, and faith. She holds a Bachelor's of Divinity from New Hope and Life School of Religion and Seminary. Pastor Sharetta has been married to her husband, James, for 31 years.
Wow, what a blessing.
She has 2 adult children, McKaylin and David, and 3 beautiful grandchildren. Please help me welcome Pastor Sharetta Galladay.
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome.
Come on now. On the shining. Oh my goodness. No, recapture your sparkle movement. You got to explain. Like,
So you
share.
want the Cliff Notes?
No,
Or
we
you
want to read.
What version?
Yes.
How did we get to this?
How did you get to this?
So first, let me say thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
And it's wonderful to finally meet this beauty in person. I'm telling you, Facebook will make you feel like you know everybody. So recapture your sparkle. So let's go. So when I was 12, I was raped. From 12 up until about 16, molested. And so, I mean, it just kind of caused me to just go through a lot of different things, just kind of get the cliff notes. And so I never really dealt with, what I went through. I mean, I told my mom is still alive, bless her heart. What I'm saying isn't new to her.
Mhm.
We've had this conversation, she's free, all is well. And so she didn't believe me, but what I didn't understand that I knew, later on was that she was fearful for her life. So
Okay.
I think she did believe me, but she didn't know what to do.
Right.
And so, from 12, I moved no, I'm still at home, 12. I moved to my grandmother's house at the age of 16, God rest her soul, because it was either me or my stepfather, somebody was going to die. So she comes, well, my father comes, guns blazing. It's crazy, I'm telling y'all. Guns blazing, he comes, I go, I move with my grandmother, I stay there. I meet my husband on K Street at a stoplight on my way to a job interview. So I got the job and I got it.
I know that's right.
Right? But anyway, so what he didn't know, he thought what he saw was, his words, this gorgeous woman in this red Sprint, you know, in this car. It was a Sprint. He said all he saw was this gorgeous woman, but what he didn't see was a broken woman, a damaged woman. I was all made up, you know, hair down my back and all this other stuff. And so for years I had never really dealt with what had happened to me, because everybody, even people in church, was like, oh, you just gotta let it go. You can't deal with it. Okay, you're strong. And so I never really dealt with it until I was probably, I think I was in my 30s. So at the age of 30, I was diagnosed with lupus. And I've had to date 15 surgeries. The last one was in February of 2017. 3 of those surgeries were back surgeries. I was told, oh, you're not going to live. I mean, I know what it's like to sit across a doctor and the doctor tells you this is when you're probably going to die. You know, this is what you can expect. Now, some of the things they said did happen, but a lot of the things they said didn't. Praise God for that, right? And so, you know, just went through so many different things. Even when I got married, you know, sex was an issue because, I mean, when you're introduced to sex that way, it's traumatic. And so I never dealt with it. Everything had to be dark. So it was a lot going on the inside. And so, you know, years go by. I'm pastoring alongside my husband. I know that I'm called. God has, you know, told me I was called many, many years ago. I was raised in church. Like my mother knew, she was like, I knew you had a call on your life when you was little. I was in church. We don't do church like we used to. I was in church. Listen, we be laying on a pew in between services while the chicken is frying downstairs. You gonna eat. You ain't got to go home. Right? Everything you need is abundantly supplied. And you just sleep on the pew in between services, go downstairs, eat your food, come back up for the next service, and repeat. Right? And so we would be in service a lot. And so my mom said she knew that there was there was something on my life. I'm not quite sure what it was, but she knew. And so I was raised in church. So I knew the word. I had the benefit of having people in my life that lived the word, because when I grew up, I just thought you went and you had a good time. Like, you don't have a relationship with God. You just go and you have a good time. I'm trying to speed through this. And so, you know, I have this background. I know God, but I don't understand why this stuff has happened to me. Like, I just don't get it. You go through this stuff mentally. You're like, what did I do? Did I do something? Then as an adult, there was an attempted rape as an adult, right? And so I'm like, why is this happening to me? Because, you know, they tell you attract, you know, certain things. So I'm like, I'm not attracting this. Like, you know, what is going on? So for years, I don't deal with this. I never cried until I was in my 40s. I never even looked at it because everybody was like, you're strong. And so I'm the third child among 7. And so I'm that kid. And some of my siblings might beg to differ, but it's true. I am the one that everybody would come to. I am the strong one. I am the one, you know, if something goes wrong, I'm the point person. I'm the go-to. My mama needs something. I'm the go-to. You know, I'm the go-to. And so you thinking being strong is a badge of honor when it's really killing you. Right? And so here it is. I go to Mexico. I come back. And all of a sudden, I get sick. I'm diagnosed with lupus over a period of time. And I'm like, God, where does this come from? I don't even know what lupus is, right? I have no idea. There's nothing in my bloodline, what's going on. And I remember, this was a while back, and I remember my then spiritual mom, who I still consider a spiritual mom, Apostle Cynthia Brazelton. We were talking about it, and she says, I'm going to tell you where lupus comes from. And so, because I had been praying, God, where's this coming from? It came from undealt. Me not dealing with what had happened to me. And so what happens is when we pat things down, you know, everybody say keep the secrets in the house and don't tell anybody, and you just got to push through it. Some stuff you're going to have to stop. You're going to have to stop. You're going to have to peel back the layers, and you're going to have to let it out, because if you don't let it out, it's going to come out one way or another. And so for me, it came out in the form of lupus. And so then some time goes on, and then my dear friend, sister friend, Pastor Shun Strickland, she's an amazing coach. You probably know who I'm talking about. She's an amazing coach. She does a lot of different things. And at the time she was I did some soul work with her. And so real good friends, like I said, she's like a sister to me. She had a 3-day event at her home. And I got a flight, paid for the program, and I went, and it was the first time that I ever dealt with everything that had happened to me. Because I was functioning, and on the outside, everybody was getting their needs met, and I was down on the inside. I know what it's like to be depressed.
Yes.
I've been depressed before. Oh, did I tell you I tried to commit suicide? Thank God that I failed.
Yes,
You know, during that whole process,
Right.
when I was 16 years old, I tried to commit suicide. Thank God that, that failed. Even, as I got older and I'm out here ministering and I'm helping everybody else, and I'm like, God, I'm helping all of these people, and they think I'm amazing, this, that, and the third, but I'm hurting on the inside. And so my life changed when I went to Arkansas, because I was forced literally to deal with the issues. I cried for the first time. It was like crying. It was like, being in that experience all over again, because the reality is, when you haven't dealt with something, I don't care how old it is, when you begin to look at it and you deal with it, it's like everything just kind of floods you. And that was the moment I recaptured my sparkle. So the sparkle was already there.
Right.
It was there.
Right.
It was already there, but it
Come
was
on
time
now.
for me to recapture it and to emerge.
Right.
And so I was functioning, but I was mechanically functioning. And though other people were being blessed, God was like, listen, you're a partaker. The same, the same breakthroughs that people are getting, you can get that too.
Right.
But you're going to have to look at your stuff, because the reality is this: sometimes people don't want you to look at your stuff, because if you do, it may take you away from what you contribute to their life.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. If you start going through your process, I might miss out on what you bring to my life. And so I'm telling you, that time in Arkansas changed everything. I cry more, because even before that, I would never cry. My family is like, you are so emotional now. Like, you cry over, like, listen, I'm in a space after that time. I'm in a space now where I ain't holding jack.
I know
Yeah,
that's
that's
right.
right.
I don't
That's
hold
right.
anything.
I
I
know
don't hold
that's
anything.
right.
And so it's just like, okay, yeah, this is what the word says, and that's God's word is my reality. However, I still got to get this out. That's why therapy is important. That's why having somebody you can talk to,
Yep.
that's unbiased, that's important. That's why you got to open up, because the Bible says, as you prosper, as your soul prospers. My soul was sick.
Yeah.
And so it came out in the form of lupus. I'm healed.
There you go.
It came
Look
out
at
in the
God.
form of lupus. And so, like you, I wouldn't trade the journey for anything either, because it helped. I believe that you find purpose, or your purpose can be masked in pain. And so, to the person who goes through emotionally or physically or spiritually or what have you, I can relate to that person and say, hey, look what God did for me. You don't have to decide and stay sick, because he's already healed you. You don't have to stay depressed, because that was a part of that as well. Like, you can decide. I think that's what you said. You make a decision, and once you make that decision, you have to continue to redecide over and over and over and over and over again. And let me shout out my husband, because my husband was amazing in this. He had no idea he was marrying a mess. All he saw was something beautiful. But because of his love and his compassion and his care, he really helped me and walked, and just was there for me and loved on me. But I thank God for, Pastor Shun and the program and what God had her do. And I went in that 3 days later, and it wasn't just something that happened overnight, but it broke the seal. You follow me? It broke the seal. I recaptured my sparkle. And so that's how Recapture Your Sparkle was birthed. Arise, shine, for your light is come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. And so then Sparkle Girl was birthed out of Recapture Your Sparkle. And so Sparkle Girl was literally just, it wasn't about the bling. And although normally I have all this bling on, I'm not blinging too much tonight. But, and people thought it was about the bling. I'm like, you're missing it. The bling is just a reminder for you to shine.
Right.
And be who God's designed and created you to be. But you can't do that if you're not willing to deal with your stuff, to be willing to say, this hurt me, to be willing to cry, to be willing to walk through your process. We're already healed. However, it's a process. It doesn't mean, because Jesus already accomplished it on the cross, but there's still a process that you and I have to walk through.
Right.
That's right.
And so a lot of times we don't do that, like you were saying, as women in the journey of women. We just we're there for everybody. We got to keep moving. We think we got to keep moving, and we don't take time for ourselves.
Right.
That stuff went out the window for me.
Come
Right.
on now.
And so I'm like, if people can't handle it, I don't know what to tell them.
Listen.
Right?
Yeah.
So 50 is a wonderful.
Yes.
It's a wonderful time. It's a wonderful
truly
time.
is.
And so, my heart is, for women to allow God to totally heal them. But you can't heal where you aren't willing to reveal.
That's right.
And I tell people, if you will look at it long enough, because sometimes we'll it's like this road. There's this long road that leads up to our property. And so if you walk it back and forth, if you walk it twice from the line of the road all the way to the house, it's like 1.3 miles, like 1.33 miles. And so when you're first walking it, it's beautiful. All of the sceneries out here is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a dream come true. And so as I'm walking, all of a sudden there's this incline. And so at first I'm walking straight, right? I'm walking straight. But then as I get to the incline, I got to change my posture.
Yes.
I got to bend in. I got to dig in to go up the hill. And so some people will wait. They'll get to the hill and say, you know what, I don't feel like walking that hill. So I'm going to turn around and keep going. But I promise you, if you would just face the hill, and if you would just dig in, and you will begin to walk and go over that hill, guess what? You've done it.
Yep.
And so a lot of us will deal with our pain to a point where we're uncomfortable, but then we'll turn back around. And so I tell women, if you'll just keep going and break the ceiling, if you'll just keep going and you break that thing and you continue to walk this thing out and watch God tremendously. I mean, not only has he already healed you and set you free, but now you're going to actually experience that healing and that freedom.
Come on now.
And so Sparkle Girl Lip Shine Collection wasn't really so much about lip gloss and liquid matte lipstick or anything like that, but it was it's an inspirational line. Every time you pick up a tube, they ask me to pull it out.
Yes, we
Every
did.
time you pick up a tube, it says Sparkle Girl. So it's telling you to do something.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
And all of the names is something, that reminds you of who you are. You're amazing. You're passionate. You're God-fearing. You
Love
follow?
that.
And so it's a message in a bottle.
Yes.
It's and so
Love it.
while you're beautifying your beautiful self, it's reminding you to shine. And I promise you, at 51 years old, I still have moments where I pick my own tube up and I be like, oh yeah, girl, you gotta shine.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
Because all of us have moments where we want to turn down our shine because we went into a room and we might not feel like we belong in the room, or we admire the other people and what they're doing, and we're minimizing what God is doing in our lives. And so, like you
Yep.
said, that competition stuff. That competition, like, why are we trying to compare ourselves? I've been there, done that. When you don't feel good about yourself,
Right.
and when you're looking at, in social media, listen, social media is a wonderful tool.
Stay right there.
Okay, it's a wonderful tool. It is, but if we're not careful, we will allow it to dictate what we
Right.
do instead of allowing God to tell us what to do.
Right.
That's
Because
it.
we need to be popping, we need to be on. And so I've been off social media now probably maybe a month. And like one day I woke up and I said, too many people have access to my mind.
That's good.
Right? They have access to my mind. There are too many opinions. There's too many thoughts. It's
love
just
that.
too much. And so the beauty is recognizing what you need for you, and somebody else might be like, girl, you all right, you don't need to. No, you do what you need to do because you don't have anything to prove
Right.
to anybody else.
Right.
And so coming from rape, molestation, depression, attempted suicide, even as an adult, I had so many medications, and there was a point that I was so tired of being in pain because I was in chronic pain, and I knew that God had already healed me. But I'm like, where's this manifestation? Because this hurt.
Right.
Now remember, this is all before my soul gets
right.
healed.
That's
I'm
right.
telling you, if your soul is right, your life will follow your soul.
Yes.
If your soul is broken, your life will follow your soul. Right? And so you got to do the soul work, and it's very uncomfortable. And I
Oh, yeah.
remember one time laying in my bed, and the way my bed is, my husband just loves our bed. I'm trying to get a new bedroom set, but he's married to the bed. And so it has a shelf on it, or a base
okay.
on it. And so I used to have all my medications. Listen, I had liquid morphine at home. I had morphine in liquid form. I had morphine in pill form. Dilaudid, anything tramadol. You think it, I probably had it. And so I remember one time I was just like, oh my God, Lord, I listen, if I do this, I can go be with Jesus. And the enemy kept saying, listen, you can go to sleep. I just wanted to go to sleep and not have disrupted sleep. I just wanted to go to sleep. And I literally had a thought in my mind that you could just make yourself a cocktail and go to sleep and wake up and be with Jesus. But the moment I realized your soul, when you fix your soul, when you align your soul with what God has already declared for your life, then you will prosper. Then everything else will prosper. And so that's how recapture your sparkle was. I had to first recapture my own. Because a lot of times we out here trying to get other people to a place we've never been.
Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
We've never been. We've never ever been. And so Sparkle Girl, so when they see it, it's like Sparkle, and so I do a getaway. Haven't done it in a few years because I'm like you, co-pastor. I don't do stuff just because people want me to.
Right.
People will set y'all up.
Right.
They
Right.
won't
Right.
register. They be the main ones. Go ahead, let's do this, third. And then you sitting there with the bill, like seriously, right? So people have you try to get you to do it, or the pressure of doing something.
Right.
Like, what in the world? I'm only doing it if God tells
That's
me
it.
to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If He doesn't tell, like for us, and I'll talk about the ministry in a minute, but for us, I think we've only had one event in at Foundation of Faith this year, and that was the building dedication.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't doing nothing according to
Right.
what people say.
I'm with you.
Oh, I need to be in church more. Okay, let me. Okay, Lord.
You talking good, Pastor.
We talking about people out here with other addictions, and this people addicted to church,
Come on
to
now.
the mechanism of church,
Yes.
and to what church causes you to feel.
Come on now.
When we're not even supposed to be living according to our feelings, but according to what we know,
No. Come on now.
right? And so, I mean, that was an incredible journey within itself. It was challenging, just trying to locate yourself, and it was just a lot all over the place. I was there for everybody. Can I just be candid?
Yes.
I was there for everybody because I was the go-to girl, right? I
I'm
was
like,
the go-to
yeah,
girl,
absolutely.
right?
Right.
So God is using me. I'm the go-to girl. But can I tell you, I was getting just as much out of it as they were.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then you find yourself needing to be needed.
Come on.
And if you're not needed,
Come on now. Okay.
Right.
and so I had to recapture my sparkle. I am in such an amazing place.
That is awesome.
I mean, I have people, and I admire, there's some people I tremendously admire, but I was being led by their voice and not God's. Why? Because sometimes you can't hear because you got too many voices. That's why people confused. They listening to too many people. It's like, where's God? Who is God telling you to listen to? What is God telling you to do? And so that is how Recapture Your Sparkle got birthed. And so Sparkle Girl Lip Shine was birthed in 2016. And it's been absolutely amazing. It's an amazing lip line, not because it's mine, but because it really is.
I know that's
And like
right.
I said, it
all the
encourages
things you said.
women, right? It encourages women to shine and be all that God has designed them to be, and stop comparing yourself.
Yes.
Love who you are.
Yes.
Love what you
Love
got.
you.
Yes.
Whatever change needs to happen, let it be because God showed you or you identified it for yourself.
That's right.
Yes.
Like, I'm
good.
telling you, like, listen. I was telling, like, I'm in this little transformation. My husband is hilarious. So y'all know I told you I'm 51, right? And I'm gonna talk about the church in a second. 51. All of a sudden now, I've been having hot flashes since I was 30 years old.
Yes.
But my God,
Yes. Oh, another yes.
y'all see
Yes.
my fan, right? The
Yes.
intensity has gone to another level.
Yes.
And so normally I wear weaves because sweating a lot and all that. And then one day I just woke up, I'm telling you, 50, something happens.
It
I woke
does.
up and I said, I'm done. It's too hot for
Right.
extra hair.
Ain't nobody got time for
Right,
this.
it's too hot. So I called my stylist. I said, listen, I need you to come on and put the permanent back in my hair because I haven't had a perm.
She called
I
it a
haven't had
permanent.
in double-digit years, right?
Yes.
I said, put the perm in my hair. I stopped wearing fake nails a long time ago. These are my
Yeah.
actual nails. I mean, just out here. He said, I can feel the scratch of your nail and feel your scalp.
I'm telling you, it's something real, ain't it?
But let me say
And I ain't
this.
even got nails, but I want my natural.
But I'ma
Don't put
tell
that
you,
stuff
and
on
so
my
I'm
nails
not
no more.
saying, listen, I got friends in the closet. I
Right.
call my hair friends. I got friends in the closet, so I'm not saying I would never do it.
Right.
But there was a time for me that I would not go out the house without makeup. I would not have a wig on or a weave. And so I had to strip.
That's it.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because what'll happen is we'll allow the culture and what people think and what we deem beauty or what they deem beauty, should I say.
Right.
And so it's like, peel all that back. Can you, I mean, it's okay to have it. It's okay to wear it. It's because, again, I got friends in the closet. But can you just not have it?
Right.
Can you show yourself without makeup? Are you confident in yourself enough? Do you love yourself enough?
Right.
Do you follow me?
love
So
that.
when
Come on
my,
now.
when my sparkle got recaptured, I was like, I hope everybody ready. Because I'm here now.
I'm bringing
Look, I think I posted maybe a couple weeks ago because I was just having a moment, and I was like, I know I ain't trying to preach to y'all or nothing, but why can't people, if you want to do a perm, then do a perm. If you want to do natural, it's
Like,
always
it's like a team.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
team
like
me.
I'm constantly seeing like posts of it almost is as if you're not doing what I'm doing, then
Right.
you're not keeping it real. You're not this, and I was like, why does it have to be that? Why can't it be that I'm making a different decision than you,
Right.
and we all doing it?
Right.
But it's always this if you ain't see what I see, or if you ain't done what I done, or if you ain't doing it like this. Why? I was like, why? I did some long. I was like, I'm sorry, y'all, but why does it have to be like that? If I like vegetables and you like meat, can I just like meat and you like vegetables
we can
and
eat
that be
together.
that?
You have your
Right.
vegetable
But
tray,
it's always
and I had my meat.
All right now.
but it's always that it has to be one or the other, or somebody's up and somebody's down. And it's like that's what makes the whole world what it is. Everybody does something different. Just be
Everyone's
you.
unique, right?
Be
Right.
you.
Right. And when you fully, I mean, and it's a journey, like you were saying, this thing is a journey, and you're still realizing some things about yourself. You're still growing. You're
Right.
still becoming. You're still change. I mean, you get to change. That's the good thing. Like
Right.
nobody, I love it. Like you said, you have a daycare. You never even thought you would have a daycare, but you didn't let nobody box you in.
Right.
Pastor, what you doing with a daycare? Why can't I have a daycare? You know,
Right.
like who's to say you got to stay in one particular
That's right.
zone or one particular
That's right.
thing all your life? And I'm telling you, if you would get your soul, if you would do the work in your soul,
Come
it's
on.
a lifetime.
Yeah.
If you would do the work in your soul, we wouldn't be pulled by every little thing that everybody's doing. Just because somebody else is doing something, that don't put pressure on me.
Right.
I can
That's
celebrate
right.
what
That's
you're
right.
doing.
That's
I can
right.
celebrate what you're doing.
Right.
I'll even
Right.
support it.
Exactly.
You know what you're doing, but that doesn't mean I gotta go with you.
That's
Right.
Like, people think I should be a coach. Okay, I believe in coaches. I paid coaches,
Right.
but God ain't telling me to be a
That's right.
coach.
Right.
That's right.
Gotta go with
That's
it.
not
Right.
what He's telling me to do. I get tired of talking to folks. Anyway, so listen, freedom looks good on you.
Yes.
No, can you hear me?
Freedom.
It looks good. It feels good. Not freedom to do whatever you want, but
Right.
freedom to be who God has designed you to be,
Yes, yes.
even when others don't agree or understand it.
That's right.
We're all women. We have that in common, but our journeys are not the same.
That's
They're
right.
not
There may
supposed to
be
be.
some similarities, but they're not the same.
That's
Right.
right.
And so we can celebrate each other. We don't have to, I'm looking at these doggone books, and I know I'm supposed to write a book. I done came in here, and I'm like, Lord, okay, what else you want me to do?
Just a sign.
I'm serious.
Books are thrown at me.
And I'm like, okay, it's going to get written.
Right.
It's going to get written. But I don't pressure myself
Right.
or let other people
That's
pressure
right.
me.
Exactly.
You know, and so I'm
Exactly.
telling you, God wants you to arise and shine and sparkle. So the church, let's talk about that. Oh, have mercy. How much time we got?
You good?
You good?
Do you?
Okay.
Do you?
So my husband and I have been pastoring for 16 years.
Oh, wow.
Well, 16, 17, 16, something like that. I don't even know.
Right.
I
In
feel
that
like
range.
And where the church is located. For like 16 years. And so what's interesting is, like I said earlier, I knew and he knew that we were called,
Yes.
but for a year I ran.
Okay.
Because I was very instrumental behind the scenes with my former pastors, and I saw all the HE double
Come on
hockey
here.
sticks that they went through, and I was like,
So that was me. I'm
no.
Oh.
See what I'm saying? I was like,
That was my little
because
silent
you
shout.
do.
Right.
My mind went somewhere else for a minute. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Because you think that's what your life is going to look like.
Right.
You know, and no shade to the hat wearing first ladies and all that.
Come
Like,
on,
first of all, I'm the only lady. So it was just like all of this stuff I was seeing the pastors crying in the office and going through, and they stressed out, and I was like, that is not what God
Come
called
on
me
now.
to. Like, no.
With you.
And so my husband, so it was delayed a year. my fault. It was a later year. So he, so he's called. He starts the church and everything, and I'm just still reluctant. I am just like, Lord Jesus, fix it. I can do anything else you want me to do, but this. And so it's interesting because even before my very first time ever ministering, my husband preceded it, or he had something to do with it. I'll never forget it. This is before we were pastoring, and our pastor saw a call on my life, to minister. And he was like, listen, I'm telling you, I see this. My husband was like, listen, I'm telling you, Sharetta is really, she's anointed, but she won't do it. So they came up conniving and scheming. They came up with, okay, so my pastor says to him, okay, the next time you schedule to minister, y'all do it together. Now my plan was, I said okay, because I was just gonna stand there and be like, I was gonna say anything, right? But I get up there and I say something, and then it was over. And so that's how I started. So the next thing you know, he starts the church. We're pastoring, Word of Wisdom. Shout out to the former church, Word of Wisdom Christian Ministries. Amazing. I mean, we started this, that, and the third. Then he retires. He says, God, and we knew this. It's interesting because when something happens in your life, by the time it hits the mainstream, they think it just happened.
Right.
It happened a long time ago.
Right.
You're just getting privy to it, right? And so I'll never forget it. We have been talking about it on and off because I knew that I was supposed to be the senior pastor. And he knew it too. But it was a matter of process. Because God is never going to force you into something. But he'll allow process to happen to bring you into a place of readiness. Right? And so, we're talking about it, this, that, and the third, because, you can relate. When you've given your life to something, it can be hard to pass it over. Right? Because you've given your life to it. But this is the thing, even as pastors, pastoring is something that God has purposed me in the earth to do, but it is not the only thing.
That's
Right.
Come on.
That's
Right? And so if you give yourself, in other words, if your identity is tied into the thing that you're called to, if God wants to shift you, it'll be hard for you to let it go.
That's right.
And then you'll develop all this other, stuff that you'll be dealing with. But anyway, so we have been talking about it, this, that, and the third. And so I'll never forget it. I was in Florida living my best life, visiting my daughter, Michelle, and her family. And he sends me a text. We're in church. We're at her church. He sends me a text. He says, I'm ready. I don't even know what he was talking about. I was like, ready for what? Because, can I just be candid?
Yes.
We talk good game, what we ready to do,
Right.
we know God wants us to do.
Come on now.
As long as it's off in the distance.
You ain't even gotta ask no more.
But that thing came like this.
Right.
When he said, I was like, because it was easy to deal with and talk about it when I knew it was a far off. But I had known for about maybe 6 months prior to the transition that it was on my heels, because God was letting me know this thing is coming, it's coming, it's coming. And I'm like, wait, what? So here it is. I turned 50 and become the senior pastor of Foundation of Faith Church.
Wow. That is awesome.
Who knew at 50, right? I'm supposed to be chilling.
He did.
So, right.
Yeah, you did.
Right. So we have the conversation. He said, it's time now. It's time for you to step up. I said, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, then I have to do it the way God has instructed me to do it. And he said, well, what is God telling you to do to dissolve, Word of Wisdom, to dissolve it? And so instead of me adding and tweaking the vision that exists, I need to start from the ground up. Fresh. So we are 8 months old?
Wow.
We started in January.
Okay.
But can I tell? Listen, I'm gonna show you how when you're obedient to God, and so because you ask yourself, can I do this? Because listen, for all you out there in social media land, it's easy. It's easy to follow somebody's vision.
Come on.
When it's your
But it's a whole nother thing when you are the senior, when you're the visionaire. It's a whole nother way. And so God, as he's leading me up to this transition, he tells me I'm shifting you. I'm beginning to shift you. So it was some things I had to let go of, some people I had to love from a distance. I had to even put a pause on Sparkle Girl. People could still go to the site and they could purchase and all of that. But he was like, I want your full attention on this. And so that's where my full attention, came. And so I began to put things and put legs to it and this, that, and the other. And so things begin to break loose and manifest in me and my husband's life the moment we said yes. The moment we said yes. And then so we launched the ministry publicly in January of this year. And then by July, we have a building.
Wow.
And the Lord tells me prior to this, and I'm telling the ministry, I said, listen, God says we're going to have a building, and it's going to be turnkey. We literally, all we're going to have to do is literally turn the key and walk in. And that's exactly what happened. All we did was change the cosmetic look of it. Wasn't looking for it,
awesome.
none of that stuff. But during this time, we're going through something. Can I just say this? Listen, I'm not saying that everybody got to tell their business, but I just wish people would be more transparent.
Give me a high five.
Come on, right? Anybody else?
I'm
Yes.
good, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, all
Yeah.
right, all right.
That's
Right.
so, yes.
Listen, because it just looked so easy. It looked like we're not going through anything.
Right.
It looked like we haven't gone through it. You understand what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
See, it's easy to talk about the testimony at the end of it.
That's it.
But faith will talk about what God said he gonna do in the midst of it.
That's right.
And when you begin to declare those things publicly, you might look crazy to people, but I'm telling you, it will cause something to happen on the inside of them
Oh,
for
yeah.
their own life. And so it's like when seasons collide. I'm not trying to preach, but I'm animated. It's like when seasons collide. So here it is. We were in a transition of, he retired as a senior pastor. He's still pastoring with me, but he retired as a senior pastor. We shut down Word of Wisdom. I step up as a senior pastor. We launch, Foundation of Faith. We get a building, but while we get a building, we decide we're dealing with some stuff with our house that we have been dealing with for a while. I'm just transparent.
That's
Listen,
right.
we dealing with some stuff with the house we have been going through. We had a predatory lender, whole situation, blah, 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 blah. And so God says, listen, walk away.
Right.
What? See, ain't nobody gonna tell you that.
Right.
Because you worried about what somebody thinks. It
Come
says
on now.
walk away. Now my whole church knew this because the Lord said open it up and tell them. Zelma, am I telling the truth? Open it up and tell them, okay, because what you're dealing with, what you're going through is not for you.
Right.
It's that God would be glorified. He said, listen, Lazarus died. I'm glad he did. I'm glad I wasn't there so that God would be glorified, so that you would believe. He's talking to the believer so that you would believe, right? So we're going through all of this. Here it is. We up here constantly. We painting walls. We doing this. I don't know where I'm going to leave. Packing stuff. I'm like, okay, God, what's up?
Right.
What's going on? Okay, take care of my house. I got you.
That's it.
He said, I'm going to blow your mind.
That's it.
I'm gonna put you in something that I could make happen. Y'all, listen,
Come on
all
now.
of this happening at the same time. We walk away. Credit is excellent. How is that possible? It doesn't even show up.
Ooh, nobody.
Why? Because you're doing what God is telling you to do, right? Doesn't even show up. We now live in a 6,400 square foot house that sits on 7.2 acres of land.
I know
Wow.
that's. Come on, God.
Fully furnished and no debt. And so I'm like, why? First it started with getting my soul straight.
That's right.
Because when your soul prospers, everything is going to then your life is going to prosper. When your soul is healed, right? And so then you say, yes, you do what doesn't make sense. And why do everybody always think something wrong when you make a decision? I had people texting me, well, what's wrong? Well, what happened? Why did you do this? Because that's what God said.
Right.
Why did y'all shut down this church and start another one? Because that's what God said. That's what God said. And so the whole time, God had me openly open it and walk it out. And the church was just amazed. Like to see, to see faith and work. I said, because I don't have nothing on the line. God does. I'm just doing and saying what he's told me to do.
That's it.
And 2 weeks before, was it 2 weeks or 3 weeks? 2 or 3 weeks before we were supposed to leave our house, God blessed us with the house. First of all,
Wow.
we kept seeing the house. I kept seeing it. And I asked my husband, I told my husband, my son is shout out to my son, King David Galladay. He's a realtor. And so he was our realtor. And he kept bringing it to me. I'm going to show you something. And I saw it and I was like, oh man. So and I said, and God said, ask me for it.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I said, God, can I have this house? He said, yes. All right, boom. I tell my husband, I send him pictures. I said, he said, nope, nope. Nope. I said, okay. I didn't try to talk him into it or anything. I said, God, you said I can have this house, so now you need to deal with it. So I tell my son, I said, take me to the house. I want to see it. I ain't asked my husband to go. I said, take me to the house. I want to see it. And this is all when seasons collide. When it look like you're losing something, but you gain so, y'all, come on. That's why you got to let some stuff go. Let me see this book. Let me see the book. That's why you got to let all this go.
Yeah.
So you can get this.
Yeah.
That's right.
But we won't let stuff go. We try to hold on to stuff. You're trying to hold on to relationships. You're trying to hold on to all this other stuff. If you don't let it go, because God has something greater.
Yep.
And so I went to the house, and my husband happened to call me while I was at the house. He was like, where you at? I said, I'm at the house. What house you at? I'm at the house I told you about, Sharetta. Listen, dude, ain't nobody saying nothing to you, right? So we go in there. He said, well, what do you think? Started asking me questions. What do you think? I said, I love it. I said, I had the same experience when I turned the key, when I opened the door to the church. I had the same exact experience, confirmation. God said it's yours, right? Next thing I know, he driving home from work. He calls me. He's like, oh, Lord. He said, God told me that's your house, and that I need to add my faith to yours. I went to my son. I said, okay, it's time. I said, go ahead. It's time for us to get the house or whatever. I said, what do I need? My son looked at me. I'll never forget this. He said, favor. Because he knew, listen, when your kid's grown, you ain't got to hide nothing no more. You can tell them what they need to know.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Because he knew what we had been dealing with this predatory lender. There were all the stuff that we had gone through, right? Trying to make stuff, just trying to get stuff in the line, trying to do it. He knew. And so he said, you need favor. I said, I got that. I said, just put the paperwork in. Let's get it going. Next thing you know, we get a call. Weeks later, boom, it's yours. When you want it, let's get things going. And that's the house I live in.
Oh, God.
But where did it start? It started when I recaptured my sparkle. You follow what I'm saying? It started, and the more your soul is healed, the more you're being authentic, the more you're obeying God, things begin to open up. Things begin to manifest. Following God doesn't mean that we're not going to go through anything. And so even when I would open up, because I didn't understand it, God says, you're going to have to detach from shame. What are you ashamed of? You shame because you choose it. He said, I want you to open it because God won't allow you, if it's your heart not to be prideful, and you say, God, help me to not ever be a person of pride, he'll allow that to happen. And so he said, open it up. Tell him what you're walking through, because it's not just about you. Tell them what you're walking through so that they see that I have them. I will take care of them. And so that's how we got here. So we'll be celebrating a year, January the 6th.
All right.
Congratulations.
Go ahead now.
And so it's not always easy, life happens. But I'm telling you, if you will just do things God's way and just sparkle, do what God's told. Listen, you got to love you. You have to be confident in who God created you to be. You can celebrate another person, but you don't have to compete with them. And just because you're doing something don't mean it's for me to do.
Right.
We get so mad. We be sharing stuff with people and be mad because they don't get on board. Did God tell me to get on board? You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
And so, 2 kids, 3 grandkids later, and I'm enjoying it. I told my husband, we looked at each other about a week ago, and we were sitting in the house. I said, you tripped out? He said, yeah, you tripped out? I'm like, yeah, I'm tripped out. And so we tripped out. Not that God did it, because we knew he would, but to actually be living your dream. And you ain't have to do what everybody said you did.
That's it.
Sparkle girl.
Yes.
And so there's so much more to come. And so I'm excited. I'm like, people ask me, okay, what's next? When he tell me, I'll let you know.
That's it.
Or I don't allow people to any longer to put pressure on me to produce. If God tells me to do it, I'm going to do it. If he tells me, like people's like, how long you going to be off social media? I don't know. Indefinite. Like I go on for our church page, our group, but I hit it in such a way, I'm like, I ain't ready for y'all yet. This is
Mm-hmm.
too much. Why? Because I'm protecting this.
Right. And that's important.
I'm protecting
So important.
so much access. You got email, you got text message, you got the phone. I'm out in the woods, y'all. I got a landline. You got the phone. You
I
have.
do too, but I don't know the number.
See, I don't need. I have distorted my phone. I don't even know the number.
I'm gonna need
You
y'all to
have,
call
you
off
have-
the cell phone.
You got
I
social
don't know the
media.
number.
You got family. Everybody.
Everything.
It's
Yeah.
like an octopus. All
That's right.
all things are pointing to you, and it's just too much. And God told me, He says, even where you live was a part of the purpose. I had to seclude
Lose
you.
yourself.
I can't even see my name. I had to not isolate, but to seclude you. I had to get you, to bring you away, if you will.
Well, I was going to ask, because you mentioned something about, because you come in and out of that, and and I've noticed, I hate to say, since 50, I noticed that when things start seeming a little unbalanced, or I'm getting a little more edgy, or I'm falling back into whether it's complaining or feeling some kind of way about whatever, now that I know what that is, that's when I tell myself, and I shared this with a friend of mine, that I kind of pull back, and then I pull back and start focusing on my center. So I go back into home, my husband, my kids, and push everybody else out for a minute, because I'm like, okay, so you must be doing too much outside of home. And I have to do that every so often, because you'll feel it. I think people who don't get that, they don't feel the shift, so they fall back in. But when I feel myself being offended by things that
Right,
I was okay
triggers,
with before,
right.
then it's like, okay, wait a minute, because I'm getting too much of that, don't have nothing to do with me. So
If
I
overex-
relate.
if overexposure ruins pictures.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just gotta fall
It's
back
just
when
right. You just
yeah.
you have to manage it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes where God is trying to take you, like the assignment or the purpose that you have, whatever your purpose is,
Right.
wherever you're headed, it's going to require you to shift, and everybody's not going to understand it.
Right.
You know, it's just like, let's say you have a tribe of people. Let's say we were a tribe, and you guys are excelling. You know, and I decide, well, I just want to be lazy. Well, I'm going to be irritated by your excelling. Right? And so I
Yeah.
have two choices. I can shift and excel in what God has me to excel in, or I'm going to fall off and think you
That's
rejected me.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have to shift for every round goes higher.
Yeah.
Everything that God would have us to do is going to require something different or more of something. And so when I was co-pastoring, even though that was still a major demand on my life, as I'm sure it is on yours, but this senior pastor caused a whole nother shift. And God was saying, as much as I wanted to do other things, like he was like, no, this is going to require something greater of you. More, strategic in my time, strategic in what I'm doing and who I'm doing it with.
Right.
You're going to have to cut this off. You're going to have to cut that off. That might not be for everybody else, but you
Right.
have to be okay and confident and stand and say, that's what God told me to do.
And that's the key of abiding. When you abide in Him, and you're able to hear what your next steps are. And even like Pastor said, even if it's not the popular thing,
Right.
and
Oh, yeah.
you know what is what God has for you.
For you.
And when we start to
That's
recognize
good.
what's good for us, and not what's good for my sister, or what was good for my other sister, because all of us have our different journeys, we have our different calls, we
Right.
have our different giftings in life. But abiding for me is abiding. So a lot of times I always say, God, is this what you want?
Right.
And I wait, and it's a lot. It's richness in silence.
Oh.
Okay. You just did a plug for me just real
No,
quick.
it
Yes.
is. It's
Just
She walked right
being
into it.
quiet
She
to
walked right
hear
in. The power
what-
shut
what
up.
he's
Okay.
saying,
It's
silent and stillness.
Because people really do
Yes.
get offended by it. Well, I did
power
when
shut up.
when I wrote this book. It had everything to do with people thought, how you gonna tell people to shut up? I said I needed somebody to tell me to shut up because I was talking way too much,
Yeah.
and because I was talking, I couldn't hear.
Couldn't hear.
And part of it was even in the marriage. Part of it came from going through stuff in my marriage. I was really transparent about it. Sorry, honey, but I mean, the communication was a problem because I was thinking I was right, and actually somebody was kind of like, okay, that's not your work right there. You
Right.
need to fix you. Even if whatever I'm doing is only 2% of the problem, I need to be fixing my 2%,
Yeah.
and that's God's work over there.
That's
But
right.
when I opened up and let it happen and shut my mouth, but and just to listen, everything changed. You know, it's not perfect or any of that, but now I know when I'm talking too much or I'm my mind is letting me think things and I'm feeling like I gotta defend everything and all that, and you don't have to do that. And I was being attacked at the time. I felt like attacked, social media, whatever it was, and I was feeling like I need to respond. I need to stand up for myself. But then I just said no, I don't. And actually, my husband was the one that said you ain't gotta say nothing. And eventually, I was like, oh, okay.
Jesus
It
never
gave me
defended
strength
himself.
in not saying anything. Yeah,
Because truth will always prevail.
it will.
Yes.
It will.
We just got to give it time to prevail.
That's
It will
right.
always prevail. But I'm
Prevail.
telling you, when soul work is a lifelong journey.
Oh yeah.
And you have to be honest with yourself and know yourself.
Yeah.
Know what you need.
Yeah.
I mean, know what you need. Have somebody that you can open up to and you can talk to. Not have this need to be perfect. Oh my God.
And not afraid to change.
And not afraid to
Right.
change, right? It's like,
because
okay.
if we're not changing, we're not growing.
That's true.
Right.
So if
That's
I'm
right.
afraid to change,
Mhm.
I'm gonna stay stagnant. I'm gonna stay in this
Right.
place. But you know, when you really want to allow God to excel you,
Mhm.
and for you to move according to the way He's want us to move,
Right.
we have to get to a place that God, I'm willing to change.
Mhm.
Whatever I need to change
Exactly.
to get to where you're trying to get me to go.
Right.
Right.
And a lot of times it's like Pastor said, you know, changing your mind, acceptance, you know, things like that, and not allowing old baggage to spill into our new season
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
the outcome isn't good.
And
Yeah.
the reality is when we really accept who we are,
Mhm.
people will
That's
follow.
so true.
They
They
will
will.
follow.
'Cause
But
it's
we spend
authentic.
it's authentic. When the real and that's so important because when I really begin to show up, the people who are assigned to your life or for whatever seasons or stages in your journey, they can't show up because they can't find you.
Right.
And so when you show up
Mm.
and be who God has really designed and created, and you're always you follow me? You're always evolving.
Mhm.
You're always, I mean, I'm over here, got my little streak of gray. And so it's
The little
hilarious.
street.
Like, you
All
see
right,
my streak?
it's a couple of hairs.
Oh,
It's
I got-
not no
oh.
streak.
Now, it's a little streak. It's, come on here.
Well,
Listen,
said, "Oh, wait,
listen.
I got a downpour, so I don't know nothing about
God
no
bless her whole ministry. She's like, Mom.
I got a waterfall over
She said,
here.
I want to dye your hair. And I said, I just want to see what it look like if it come in. Because I've seen women with beautiful gray
Oh, yeah.
hair.
I know.
And so I'm
Yes.
just like, I just want to see.
Yes.
So it's not a mission. It's not anything. I just want to see. And I'm loving it. I'm comfortable in who I am.
Every now and then, I don't want to see it though. You know.
Right.
Sometimes I'm just like, oh, that's not coming in right. That's not coming in right. So
But you know the
let me
beauty
start
of it-
over. Let me start
the
over.
beauty of it is, if I wake up in a week and decide I'm over it,
Right.
Yeah.
I get to change.
That's right.
Change,
But
absolutely.
what happens is we kind of put ourselves in prison and be like, okay, I did this, so I can't do that.
Right. Right. Right.
And it's just like, who said that?
Mm-hmm.
Or we let people, dictate and decide who we are, what we should be doing, how we should be doing it. No, ask God, can I do that? Can I go there? Can I participate in that? He is the one. He's the creator. He's the one that leads and guides you into every area that he will have you to go into. Because we're supposed to be here to fulfill his purpose, not our own.
That's
So
right.
that's why you got to find out what. And so I'm like, now I know all those things I went through. It wasn't God, right? I mean, who gonna serve a God that be like, okay, I'm gonna send a rapist to rape you? That
Exactly.
doesn't even make sense,
Right.
right? You know, God doesn't want me sick. Why would he send Jesus to get all of the stripes that I would be healed and go through everything? However, he will allow those things, allow them to happen to bring me to a certain place. And so all of those things, they used to break me down, but now my pain works for me.
Yes. Unwasted pain.
Unwasted. Nothing is ever wasted.
I so
It's
relate.
never
I so relate.
wasted. And so I'm telling you, this journey has been amazing. I don't know why people don't want to get older.
Listen.
It's the best thing
It's
ever.
beautiful.
It's wonderful.
It's the best thing
Confirmed
ever.
to go
Who would have
through the
thought?
kid, too.
Who
I'm
would have
sorry.
thought?
Who would have
I
thought?
say I'm fine with my little mine's coming in.
If it
Right
just
here.
come in,
Uh-huh.
little
Yeah,
cute.
sometimes I'm fine with it, but I have to admit I'm being transparent.
No,
Sometimes
that's
I'm just
good,
like,
but that's okay.
that's not
Yeah.
coming in right. So we're gonna go ahead and start over again, and then see if we can move.
I'm being completely
But sometimes
transparent.
I
My whole
love
head
it.
is gray. So I like
Is
the
it?
variety.
Sometimes I
My
love
grandmother
it.
was a silver fox.
Yeah.
It is. I wear it.
See,
I like a little.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with that.
and so it's just
Yeah, it's just fun.
This is awesome.
It's just
Yeah,
fun.
well, I change up color and stuff too because I just get
It's
bored.
just fun.
You know,
But
you
you
just
never
get
know.
bored.
You might see me in 2 weeks, and I might have Shelly on. I mean,
That-
I
that's
know,
right.
right?
Because all the girls got
about to
names
give
now.
me a
Come
shout.
on now.
You said you about to get
I like my ponytails when I have
was
hair.
looking at
So.
this, I was like, okay, this is the time. It's up. It's time for me to get me a shot.
It's pretty though.
Yes, I'm
It
getting
is.
tired of
She
it.
said it's time for me to get my
Get
Shelly.
a Shirley.
I've had,
Or
I've
Laura
had
or
these
whoever
that
she gonna
this
meet.
is
Girl, they
same
all
thing.
got
I had
names
all
They
now.
do
them.
have names. I
So I'm
forgot
like,
about that.
okay.
Yeah, so this is the
Nice.
first time. I mean, I would intermittently wear my hair on and off, but for a long time I haven't had a perm, and it wasn't like no
That's pretty, though.
Team Natural mission.
Right.
It was
It's
just that
you.
I was getting weaves, and so what sense would it
Yeah.
make to get a perm?
It's
And
just
you
what you
can't
wanna
even see
do.
it.
And it's a real decision because I know I see all of the protective styles, and I told one, the girl who was doing my hair, I said, "Oh, those are so pretty. I think I want to do that." But she knows me, so
Right.
she said, "You're not ready." And I was like, "What you mean I'm not ready? I can do that." All I want to know is, can I figure out my curl pattern before I do it? She was like, "No." So I was like, "Okay, well, y'all ain't gonna make me feel guilty. I'm about to put this stuff in here and
Natural is a lot.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's been 2
yeah."
weeks, and glory to God.
But I had to make a conscious decision that I wasn't ready. But the styles are just so cute.
They are.
And I was like, ooh, I would love to do that, but
See, my
I ain't
hair's
ready.
gotten
What
so
is it?
thin that
Huh?
I would
What
love
you?
to get
What
one.
kind of styles you talking
I'm
about?
a little thin
Natural
on the
hairstyle.
top.
Oh, natural. Yeah,
Just don't
definitely.
look too long.
Ladies, you got. I must say, you are amazing.
I didn't fall in love with this
Yes.
lady right here.
Amazing. The testimonies and just what you all are doing to help empower women and the strength you women have. You are very encouraging. We love you, ladies. This has been absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, I've related to both of your stories in
Yes.
ways I don't have time to talk about now, but yeah, I know exactly what yeah. I was thinking, yeah, I did that, or yeah, I went through that, or something very similar, and that's how I felt. So I loved it.
Strength you ladies have.
Yes.
And we thank you so
This
yeah,
was
and
so
thank you so much
awesome.
for sharing your stories with us.
But did you tell everybody how to get in touch with you? And
And could you give me my book back?
Call me. No.
She's getting ready. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna come visit.
she been waiting on
Only because it got my name on it.
She said so.
No.
Look at my book back. Look, she said so.
Did she know who to
I'ma
return
be
it to
honored.
if she feel like it, right?
Funny. She done signed it.
She
I ain't
done
gonna
signed
copy
it.
it.
I
I'm
was
gonna
joking.
copy the book.
She was holding it.
I'm
Look,
gonna
look,
get
look,
mine.
look at
I'm gonna get
that.
mine. So even though I'm not personally, my page is still
Right.
there.
Right.
And so Minister Tiffany Edmonds, aka Ruth, she manages
Love
our
that.
ministry social media. So we're on, what are we on? We're on Instagram. Instagram, I think it's FOFC, or is it Foundation of Faith? Lord have mercy.
Look,
We
see,
should
I'm
be
looking
prepared. This is
And Tiffany can send us the
Yeah.
information too. So.
so well, the website is Foundation of Faith Church.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the website.org. And then there's Foundation of Faith on Facebook.
Mhm.
And then I think it's Foundation of Faith on Instagram. And
Okay.
then, of course, people can follow me, and it's Sharetta Galladay across all social media. But
Okay.
right now, I'm not on there. So, but go and check out our ministry pages and see
Absolutely.
what we're doing. And I'm really excited. You guys got to come visit.
Absolutely.
The place is absolutely beautiful, and so my desire is to rent it out.
Okay.
For meetings, for just different things.
Right.
And so we're actually, like I said, celebrating 1 year in January. So on January 11th, we're going to have a banquet
Oh,
at the
nice.
church. I think it's going to be at 6 o'clock.
Wow, January be here in 3 months.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, where you
We are
located?
located in Waldorf.
Okay.
And let me tell you real quickly why that's significant. Because I never looked at Waldorf.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't. God told me that He was going to give us a building, but I was buoyed up, places I would. But He literally leads us to Waldorf.
Right.
This place wasn't even advertised. Like literally, we were the first. It's
Because it was
crazy.
waiting on you.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
so remember, I said we didn't know where we were going to move. Remember, I said
Yeah.
that. We lived 20 minutes away from the church in Brandywine.
Wow.
See, you're gonna have to come visit. Yeah, 20 minutes. I mean, isn't that crazy?
Yes.
And so, but that's God. So,
Gee
20
whiz.
minutes away. And so
That's
we're
awesome.
in Waldorf. We're in between Tinderbox and Golden
Oh, okay, I know
Corral.
what that is,
We're
right.
in Park Waldorf.
Yeah, that's like 15 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
Maybe 20.
Yeah.
Because of traffic.
And so our service is at 10. And right now we have a series of life classes. Typically we're doing by semester. And typically they are the second and third Wednesday of the month. So in October it's the second and third Wednesday, but in November, I think it's I'm saying this wrong. In October it's the third and fourth Wednesday, but in November it'll be the second and third Wednesday. And so my husband, God bless him, I mean, he's just doing some fabulous things. He is doing a teaching series on the foundation of finances.
Okay.
And so that's his area. He's the finance man. He's doing some amazing things, and so he's been coming in and doing some practical, tips as well as, definitely, spiritual implication. And so it's been amazing. And I gotta shout him out for this. We just launched a family business called First Financial Solutions. Oh, so you saw it, yes. And so we are the liaison. We're able to help people get loans.
Oh, nice.
And so it's First Financial. Is it First Financial?
Yeah, it's First
Thank you. First Financial. It's a lot going on here. FirstFinancialSolutions.com. And so, I mean, churches, for different people, businesses. And so, I'm telling you, God, and He is in His element. You hear me? He is in His element. He's been doing a fantastic job and, teaching people how to increase their money, how to manage their money. I think when he comes back this month, he's going to start talking about credit.
Oh, wow.
And so it's open to the public. It's at 7:30.
Okay.
And like I said, in this month, it's on the third and fourth Wednesday at 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, ladies.
Yeah.
Well, we are super excited that you all came and joined us this Sunday. You all have been truly a blessing. Really.
Let me, before we go off, because I promised a
right.
giveaway.
Yes, you did.
So we need a quick question. I don't know if it's something that, real quick, whether it's the name of somebody's, but we have to
The name
throw
of both of their
something
churches.
out.
How about that?
Okay, so whoever can come up, and mine says trying to go live, so I'm not sure if I'm
Mine
live,
just
but I
went
can
off.
still show. Keep doing this the way. But this is a new CD for Byron Cage, and it's called Isolation. And actually, he said he released these songs, and it's to help others who are going through depression. So these songs are to kind of help people that are going through that. So if someone can name the church, both churches' names, because you all both have said what your church name. We ain't gonna say it no more. So y'all have to go back and watch the show. And you can do that on YouTube, or you can go to WinDC Radio's Facebook page. You can go to ours. Mine is recording right now, but I'm sure it'll pick up once the signal comes back in. But whoever responds first with both church names will get this CD, and we'll get your information and send it off to you. And I'm still not showing it to me, but it's
Well, I gotta know mine.
okay. You do, okay. So just keep that in mind. It's the first person. So don't nobody go out there and see what the first person in front of them said and then say it again and then say, well, how you know they was before you? Because we saw that first. So I'm just saying. So, but thank you all so much for tuning in.
Yes.
And we appreciate you all again for coming. This was
Truly a
wonderful.
blessing. Truly a blessing.
And we have to have you come back in again.
Yes. And we'll have you bring your husbands.
Yes.
We didn't mean to exclude them.
Yes.
And anyway, but as you all know, we are on the air of WinDC Radio. You can download the app, powered by Go Win Media. You can check us out each and every Sunday from 7 to 8 p.m. We are live on YouTube and on Facebook on WinDC Radio, on Lisa Dove Washington's page, and Andrea Riley. We thank you for tuning in, and we will be back on the same station, same time next Sunday.
Yes.
Thank you, and have a good night.
Good night.
This is great.
Yes. So we gonna take some pictures before y'all leave.
Oh yeah, we got
I hope
Let
the
me get a little
live
air.
goes out because it kept saying it was trying to go.
Baby. I just didn't want the fan to be in the sound. That's why.
Oh, no, you
Lord.
I was trying to look. What is going on?
That was good. That was a great.
It was awesome. You ladies
Yes,
was
I enjoyed you all.
Pass over here. I'm like, oh, I'm about to.
You said, and see, I talk with my whole being.
That's
We're
all
not-
right.
So I'm just.
We're not live anymore.
Like, Lord.
Oh, that's all right.
You turned it off. You good. You just said my whole being.
My whole being.
We just want to make sure.
That's not done.
Yeah. Yeah, I ain't a fan. I was like, they're gonna get a wind blowing.
Oh, yeah.
Like a wind machine they got in there. I was trying to be fine
All
for
right.
the time, but I didn't.